place to be in any field you're in.
I know I'm just jumping the chapters, but of course we can't, it would make no sense for people to go and buy it if we talk about everything. So just speak another chapter here, the greatest gold mine.
Yes.
Let's talk about this chapter. I think it's chapter 29.
Yeah, yeah. The greatest gold mine, that was actually talking about Napoleon Hill, and he was illustrating a story about his uncle who bought a piece of land where he was doing some gold mining. Then what he did is he sunk in the drills and all that and started bringing up some gold. Then suddenly the vein of gold dried. And what did they tried to relocate the vein, but they just couldn't find it. So what he did is he sold out, got somebody, sold the equipment, sold a piece of land and moved out. The other guy who came in engaged some, some geologists who did some proper survey of the land, proper survey of the deposits, and they located the vein just about 3 inches from where the other guys left off. And this guy made millions out of the gold mine. And the idea there is that people go far to look for solutions for their issues while they've not mined the greatest gold mine that they have, their minds. William James, an American psychologist, once said, the greatest discovery of our generation is the fact that people can change the outer aspects of their lives by changing the inner attitudes of their minds. But most of the times, people think the problem is out there. So you're so keen on trying to, let's say like today, there's a problem with traffic in this city. Anywhere you come in, whichever direction you're coming from, getting into the city, you'd always have traffic issues. Now, you have a choice. You could either complain about the government and what they're not doing, or you could flip it the other side and maybe pop a CD, a motivational CD or something, an educational CD, into your radio and invest in the building of your mind. Invest in the greatest gold mine that we've ever had, which is the least mined.
What you tell somebody who's watching is like, I just can't listen to this. First of all, I'm stressed. I have to look for money to pay for my kids' fees. Maybe it's in a, I don't know, bad marriage or just lots of drama. What do you tell this person who's really created this many, many walls that cannot be penetrated by anything positive? They just feel, doesn't make sense.
Well, if I have a choice, and believe you me, we all have choices. No matter how hard you feel, you're backed up against the wall, we all have choices. There's nobody who is entirely without choices. You can walk away. Just the same way we were saying, it's a gradual shift. Failure is a gradual shift, a gradual progression.
Just as success is.
Yes, just as success is. So for them to have gotten where they got into, let's say today you're saying, fine, I'm having a problem, marriage is not working, whatnot. Sometimes it's very easy to, somebody said, every time you think the problem is out there, that thought is the problem. Because most of the times we think the problem is out there, while sometimes you don't examine yourself. Possibly you're always staying late at work, not having enough time with your family. So gradually, when you build up that, it ends up then, the whole thing is not working. So possibly, I know that one of the most difficult things to do is to self-examine.
Yeah.
So what I would advise is just to self-examine. Where did you get off track? Where did the rain start beating you? Then go back to that place and just start making different choices. It may not get you where you want to get overnight, but you can change direction overnight. You can change direction overnight. So my advice would be to just, such a person, they can re-examine themselves, re-examine their lives, and realize that just as it took a process for them to get into the hole that they are in, it's going to take a process for you to get out and be on the other end of the road where you want to be.
You know, Felix, even as we wind up, if there's one thing, and if there's any reason, in my personal opinion, I'd encourage people to read this book, is the fact that you are telling people the truth. Most things, some things will happen overnight, but most things will take a process. Success will take a process, and even failing, you won't fail overnight. It will also take a process. Just the fact that as human beings, we forget the details, that we should be careful, even as we have big dreams, to look at what we do on a day-to-day basis. Well,
That's
Felix,
right.
I couldn't thank you anymore, but I'll just give you a chance to give us some concluding statements and probably a reason why we should buy this book and where we can get it.
Great. Thanks a lot again for having me. And as a concluding statement on the book, one of the last chapters about the book talks about getting or becoming. And there we talk about we are so much caught up in trying to get, we don't really take care of what we're becoming in the process. So even as we drive to be the best that we can be, it's important to put things in perspective. It's not just about being the best you can be, but how does that help you make a contribution, a unique contribution in this world and leave the world a better place than you found it. So it's a great read. I would encourage, of course, not, let me blow my own drum here.
Of course.
My own, yeah. It's a great read, and it has vital principles to help people be the best they can be. In this day and age where there's information overload, it's not just another book, but it's a book that would definitely help you attain greatness.
You know, I had somebody say, there's a lady who's being asked why she keeps picking these books, inspirational books, and reading them all the time. And she said, you know, there's one thing, I might forget what they say, but the moment I read that book, just for that moment, it's like, you know, pouring water that cleans a vessel, and she makes herself positive from time to time. And I think that's the best thing. We might read this book, forget everything it says, but for that moment, it will be a true edifier. So
That's
thanks so
correct.
much. And where can we get the book?
It's available in most of the bookshops in town.
Okay.
It's also available for those who want the ebook version is available on Amazon.com. So
Amazon.com.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's called The Quest for Greatness
Greatness.
by Felix Onyango, Vital Principles to help you be the best you can be. Thank you very much. We've appreciated
Thanks a
your
lot
time
for having me.
this morning. Well, that's it for this first interview. But when we come back, we want to take a look at very vital issues surrounding land and ethnicity in our country. We're in 2012, and there's no two other issues that are being discussed more than this, and how Kenyans will really stay on the track when it comes to those two things I've just mentioned. Join us after this short break when we continue with KTN Sunrise Live.